So today I'm doing something a little bit different for my channel. I really wanted to do a few costume makeup looks for the month of October. So today I'm turning myself into a glamorous scarecrow. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I'm doing is trying to conceal this one brow. I'm using a glue stick. This was actually the first time that I've ever attempted to conceal my brow. I didn't do that great of a job, but hey, you know, there's a first time for everything. I'm just gonna go ahead and add some foundation. I used Wet n Wild's Photofocus Stick Foundation. I love this foundation, and in fact, most of this tutorial will be using a lot of Wet n Wild products. I'll have the majority of them listed in the description box, but it's just a plethora of Wet n Wild products. So the first step was to try to create the center of the flower, and I was trying to use different pencils that would show up, but I just ended up going in with the black pencil, again from Wet n Wild. Using a tiny paintbrush, I went in with a flash palette that I purchased from Amazon. Again, I'll have that linked in the description box as well. Has lots of primary colors to do any type of face painting. I am obsessed with these paints. Like, they really work so well. So just going in and trying to create the petals to the flower. I am obsessed with like sunflowers, so I really had a lot of fun doing this. And then instead of just leaving it with the one, I decided to go in between the bigger petals and create smaller petals just to give it even more dimension and just make it look even bigger and more vibrant. Now going in with some paints from Wet n Wild, I'm going in with the yellow paint and using that to fill in the smaller flowers, and I also do hit the tips of the bigger flowers with the yellow, and then I will go in with an orange paint and use that to fill in the bigger flowers. So my goal with this was to kind of create a gradient look with the paints from yellow to orange and then to a little bit of brown around the center of the flower, just trying to blend those colors together very seamlessly. I will go in with shadow later to kind of set these. Now we're moving on to the brow on the glam side, and I'm just making a kind of a bolder brow. I'm using the Benefit Kabrow. I love this stuff. And then I'm using a Loreal eye pencil at the front of the brow, and then using a Covergirl brow gel to just set everything. And then I'm just cleaning up underneath of that brow because, you know, we want this to be nice and glam and precise. Adding some concealer, and I also used the concealer to set my eye to get it ready for shadow. Also doing the same thing on this eye, and now going in with a Wet n Wild eyeshadow palette, and the goal is to kind of create a nice brown smoky eye. I kind of wanted it to be a little bronzy, and the eyes did end up being a little bit different. I wasn't sure exactly where I was going to go with this, but now using a deeper brown shade to deepen up the crease and start to create that really kind of smoked out look. I really love the way that the eyes actually turned out. Going in with a little bit of black eyeshadow from that same Wet n Wild palette. I'm using a something with a sharp line to just create a more pulled out, winged out eyeshadow effect, giving it all the drama that it needs. Now going in with this Wet n Wild eyeshadow shimmer. I'm not exactly sure what it's called. This one's kind of a yellow gold, and I wasn't really feeling it, not for this particular look, so I do end up going over that and covering it up, but trying to match the other eye to the glam eye, and then using that black shadow to just set that black paint, just making sure that it is not going to budge, and that also helps with shadowing and creating more dimension to your look. Now going in with another one of those Wet n Wild shimmer shadows. I went in with an orange one. Again, I probably would have chosen something different looking back at it now, but I mean, it served its purpose and it did okay. I did end up going over top of that gold color with a little bit more of a bronzy shade. Then going in with some black eyeliner to smoke out the waterline, and then using a definer brush to just really smoke out that lower lash line on the glam side. And now I'm using the same flash palette that I was using before, using the white paint, and I'm creating a white eyeliner with that small pencil brush just to really make the eyes kind of pop so that they're not like too dark, and then going back over all of the leaves and the sunflower to really give it that definition. This is where we really want to take some extra time to start to make everything kind of pop. As you're working up to this point, it's kind of like you're just outlining everything and kind of getting things where you want it, and then you can go back and kind of perfect everything. So now I'm going to go in with some eyeshadow. I'm using a little bit of yellow eyeshadow, a little bit of orange shimmer shadow. Now going into a Morphe palette, I'm using a more vibrant orange to really bring some more life to the flower. As you can see, this really adds that extra dimension that I was talking about and really starts to bring that flower to life. Also going over a little bit of the leaves in black eyeshadow just to give it some extra dimension and shadowing. And now I'm adding a little bit of glitter. This glitter wasn't the greatest. This was from Wet n Wild. I definitely would pass on their little glitter palettes. It did not work great, but you know, it was okay. Now I am bronzing up that glamorous side. We want to bring some warmth to the look, and I'm using the Give Me Sun bronzer from MAC. Always one of my favorites. I love it. I did add a little bit on the flower side, but I really wanted to focus the glam on the glamorous side, of course. Using a little bit of Burt's Bees blush. I can't remember which one this is, but I added a little blush. Now going into the nose, I'm using the same flash palette to just create a little type of button nose using eyeshadow to set that, and then I'm using an eyeshadow from Wet n Wild, like a bronzy shade, and I'm just tapping that onto the tip of the nose and then going over that with a little bit of shimmer shadow just to give it a little extra glam. Now I'm going to go in with some lashes to create a little extra drama to the eyes. I use the Virago Babe Jewels lashes, one of my favorites. Coating my lashes with some mascara, both top and bottom. You do not want to forget your bottom lashes. And then going in with this red lipstick. This is again from Wet n Wild. They actually sent me an entire PR package with tons of stuff to be able to do costume looks. So that's why I'm using so many products from Wet n Wild. Then going in with some black eyeliner. I believe this one's from Revlon, and I'm just outlining the lips. And now it gets fun. This is where we put in the stitches. So I'm just drawing a line from the corner of my mouth up to my ear, and I did want like a little bit of a gradient ombre look with that liner. Of course, I was hiding my lips when I started the stitches, but you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just drawing lines across the lips, just, you know, spacing them out pretty evenly, and then going all the way across the face all the way up to the ear, and kind of bringing them a little bit closer together as I get towards the end, just so that it looks like real stitching. You know, I feel like this is the part of the look where it really starts to come together and actually look like a costume look. So now I changed my shirt and I added the wig, and I decided to do a little bit on the neck. I wasn't going to do this, but I thought I felt like it just needed a little extra something. So I decided to add some black paint to the neck. I had to keep switching out my brushes because I really needed like a water activated paint for this. The paint that I was using just was not it, but we made it work. So I painted the neck black and then started going in with some red paint to draw kind of like almost like a flower necklace is kind of what I was going for. I'm not sure that it turned out exactly like I envisioned in my head, but you know, when does it ever, right? So I just started to outline the red pieces that I was making, and then as you can see, I'm drawing more like flower leaves, not as sharp as what's around the eye, but kind of keeping it more a little rounded. And then instead of leaving it like that, I decided to add a little bit of that gold eyeshadow shimmer from Wet n Wild just to give it a little extra glam, since this is a glam scarecrow look. And I felt like that did help kind of bring it together a little bit. I wasn't crazy about how the neck turned out, but it's okay. This was my first attempt. So added a little hat, and there you have it. This is my glam scarecrow look. I had so much fun creating this. I hope you enjoyed it. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace out.